Okay guys, let's take a look at some bike ads and see if we can learn some lessons along the way. My last video like this got over 1,000 views for some reason, so I guess people like to hear me talk about bike ads. So I bookmarked a few, and let's take a look. So this one caught my eye: 2 Raleigh Grand Prix bikes, $400 for both, or $250 a piece. Please message me. Willing to negotiate. Pick up Adams, Mass. There aren't a lot of pictures of these, and Raleigh Grand Prix bikes are pretty much bottom of the barrel, high-tension steel, steel rims. These are all pretty much original, which is not a good thing. Honestly, I think these bikes are probably worth $25 or so, but I think that you know, people see that some of these bikes are being sold for 200. Like this one's another one's selling for $200. And again, really nothing to be impressed by here. I like Raleigh's, but this was definitely not a very good model. And I guess that's the thing. Just because people are asking for $200 doesn't mean they're getting it. So I imagine these aren't going to go anywhere. Here's another bike. This one's the Jamus Aurora touring bike, and I'm pretty impressed by Jamus. I think that they spec out a pretty good bike. It's got a Tiagra rear derailleur. It has Reynolds 520 tubes, which I guess is a good thing. But like at the end of the day, chromoly tubes are chromoly tubes. Let's just be honest. But it's a good bike. It's got cantilever brakes, which means you could also run cheaper linear brakes on this. It's got that threadless stem, which is going to be highly adjustable. It has integrated brake shifters. Fenders are taken off. The pedals are taken off, and I think oftentimes you see that because the previous owner will have put clip-on pedals, and they'll want to take that with them. WTB saddle, a back rack. Everything's good, and this is being sold for $850. I guess that's a normal price. The thing is, like, if you know a lot about bikes, you can kind of look at this and you can just see that it's basically the same as a 90s era hybrid bike, except it has drop bars. And so, you know, if you could spend, I don't know, $100 and basically get a bike it's essentially spec'd out in the same way, and then splash out on some handlebars and some brake and some drifters, and you would have pretty much the same bike for $150. So I think this is I think it's a little bit overpriced for what it is, but I guess if you're looking for that particular brand, then yeah, go for it. It's still a steel bike. Here's another bike, Diamondback Mountain one-word bike, $70, down from $80. 26-inch Diamondback Wildwood mountain bike for sale. Not sure of the year. I don't know why year is even relevant, to be honest with you. It's not like a car. Needs rear derailleur replaced or repaired, as well as a seat. Okay. I've had it for years, and it's been trouble-free. I don't think this has been trouble-free, to be honest with you. I think this has been a lot of trouble. Because if you take a look at it, yes, definitely, that rear derailleur is definitely problematic. The chain is super rusty. There's no seat post. You're going to need to have a seat post collar as well as a seat. And I'm not sure how those grip shifters are doing, but I venture to guess that they probably aren't working very well. Those tires are either really dirty or they're completely old and dried out. You can see the rear cluster in the back is pretty rusted up. This isn't a great bike. I mean, it's a good bike. It's just not in good shape, and it would need a fair amount of work. I don't think this is worth $70. Most people would just put this in the trash, unfortunately. I don't know. I'd give them maybe $10 for it. Not a great one. I bookmarked this one because this is the only picture in this ad. It's a bike, Rockhopper. Description, 10 miles. I think they rode 10 miles with the bike in their trunk. I just think that this is one of the laziest pictures I've ever seen of a bike, where they, presumably they would have taken this bike out of the car at some point, But they couldn't even be bothered to do that. And they just snapped a picture. And they're like, you know what? I'm just going to snap this picture and people are going to buy it for $200. And also, when you put a bike in a car, like, don't put it derailleur side down, because you're going to, you can just bend that thing. It doesn't look like they really care about it. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's in perfectly fine condition, but like, put in some effort. If you're going to sell something, just take 5 seconds and, stand it up against a wall with an uncluttered background, take a few pictures. And then here's another bike, a Raleigh M30 19-inch bike frame for $60. Great condition, made in US, M30 frame, looking for a new owner. I anthropomorphize bikes, but I don't like when people say that the frame is looking for a new owner. Frame only. Come check out more parts and we can get you a complete bike ready to be built. I'm not quite sure what kind of arrangement that is. Kind of weird to me. But yeah, so this is the frame only, which means you're not going to get the wheels set, the cranks. Like, they're just going to strip this down to the frame, which is this kind of weird step through mountain bike frame. It's chromoly. Yeah, it's made in the US, but like, so is 80% of the other bikes that you're going to find out there. I think this is kind of an odd thing to sell, because the only person who's going to buy this kind of bike is somebody who knows how to work on bikes, and anybody who works on bikes knows that, for this amount of money, you can just get a full vintage steel mountain bike, and start from there. I think the frame alone is maybe worth $20, but again, you're only gonna. I mean, how many people are looking for that particular frame? Probably not a lot. So, yeah, it's kind of odd. I'm just kind of looking at the stuff in the background. I got that broom. I don't know what kind of bike that orange bike is on the side. That looks like I don't know what that is. It's like a vintage. I think it's a vintage bike just based on that kickstand bracket. But I don't know. That could be something. Anyway, that's the Raleigh M30 for $60, or they'll actually ship it for $50. Can't imagine anybody's ever going to buy that. Yeah, then finally we have this Zabra Kenko road bike. Often I think that the logo is just zebra. I have a feeling those are the same brands. $125, down from $150. Mid-80s Zabra Kenko Riyadh bike, partial restoration completed. Brand new tires mounted by a local bike shop. Bike had virtually never been ridden. Bearing and internal show almost nowhere. Everything is here to complete. The bike just needs to assemble and add bar tape. Tools and pick not included. Hard to find. I mean, it is hard to find in the sense that it's rare, but it's actually really easy to find in the sense that, like, these 63 centimeter steel bikes are dime a dozen. So yeah, I mean, it looks like this was disassembled. They didn't repaint it. It looks like maybe they polished up the stem. Maybe they polished up like all the different parts, because those look pretty good. Those caliper brakes, and they chucked it in a filing cabinet. I mean, that's really good organization. Like, if you disassemble a bike and you keep the different parts on different levels of your filing cabinet, that's pretty awesome. What I find kind of weird here is that you get like this person obviously like knows enough about bike repair to have cone wrenches and those pin wrenches and stuff. But then he had a bike shop mount the tires as if that's like particularly challenging. I don't know why he just didn't put the bike together. Honestly, it would take probably about a half hour. But at the end of the day, you just have like probably what's only a high-tense steel bike of just a garden variety Japanese brand, and it'd be 63 centimeters, and only like 5% of the population can ride it anyway. It's a good bike, but honestly, it's nothing special. I like the fact that they seem to have polished stuff up. That's kind of nice. $125, and now you have to go and assemble it. Again, if you know anything about bikes, you would know that you can just get a 63 centimeter bike for $100 and not have to put anything together. And if you don't know about bikes and you brought this to a bike shop, they would probably charge you $150 just to put it all together. So I don't know who this is for, but I like the fact that they keep it in a filing cabinet. That's cool.